Thank you. Speaking from the man, he is new to Toastmasters, new to entrepreneurship. He is the founder of a tech startup in the app space, aiming to launch this summer. Talk about living his dream. His speech entitled, "My Life in Haircuts."
How do you feel when you see a picture of yourself from way back in the past? Depending how old you are, you might feel embarrassed, right? And a source of that embarrassment might be your haircut. How many people here have ever had a mullet? Govinder? Some of you ladies in the 80s? Clearly, our hair says a lot about who we are. So tonight I'm going to tell you my story by telling you about my hair. Now, when I was a kid, I pretty much had the same haircut my entire life. It was in the 90s, so naturally I had the flip, also known as the ski jump, or to some, the Pee Wee Herman. Now that all changed finally when I was in grade 12. I shaved my head completely, and it looked pretty good by the way, because I joined the Army. Now, many of you may be wondering, did I ever get sent to some desolate, godforsaken hellhole in the Mideast? And the answer is yes. I did have to spend an entire summer in Quebec. It's really humid and the flies are huge. It was awful. I was in the officer program, which means you train during the summer and then you go to school in the fall. And your tuition to school is completely covered as long, in my case, as I stayed in the military for 13 years. Wow. Clearly that didn't work out. I only lasted about a year before I decided to initiate my voluntary release. So all I had to do was sign on the dotted line and I'd be free to grow my hair to whatever length I chose. Not exactly though. On my final visit to the base, which I drove 45 minutes to get to, the guy in charge decided that I was looking a little scruffy. Some of my sideburns may have been touching the ears. He told me to leave, to go, get a haircut, come back, and then he would release me. What a power trip! Holy cow. Well, whatever. He was the winner that day. Got done with that. But now I needed a new job to pay for my tuition. I had a friend at school who told me that he made, on average, like 30 grand in the summer jumping out of planes and fighting wildfires. Now, I don't know what you guys, that appealed to me. So I did some research, I went and took some first aid courses on the weekends, got my application together and applied, and what happened? Didn't even get an interview. So I did what I think anyone in this room would do, which is cry for a while and then come back next summer in full force. I applied again, and that year I did get an interview, and that was the beginning of a 4-year career as a wildfire fighter. That took me all across BC and other parts of the country. I got to carry heavy stuff and spray dirt with a hose. It was fabulous. And of course, what haircut could be more fitting for the era than a mohawk? Completely like jail length at the side, short, and 6 inches of pure sex appeal on the top. I didn't dye it green or any crap like that. Mine was sharp, I assure you. In fact, it was physically sharp. I could actually poke people's eyes out at rock concert. And to top it off, it gave me a little height advantage too. I went through a bit of like a little badass phase there. I got a motorcycle, black of course. I was a singer in a metal band, and I had an 11-pound, 6'8" pet snake. But all good things come to an end, so I eventually graduated, moved to Vancouver, started working in an office, and got one of those barbershop haircuts that everyone else had in 2013. That only lasted about 2 years though, at which point I started working on my next haircut. The haircut that I had when I first stepped foot into BETC. As you may remember, the long hair. Now normally I wouldn't have been able to grow out my hair. As you all know, when you do that, there's some awkward stages that aren't very cool. The reason I was able to grow my hair out was because last April my partner and I embarked on a year-long, round-the-world trip. It was a complete whirlwind. We went to 37 countries in that year on 6 continents. When we left, we'd only been together for like a year and a half. So to go traveling for a year was either going to make or break our relationship. We didn't come back early, and I'm happy to say that to this day we live together in East Bend. Why does that get laughed? It was on this trip that I decided to be an entrepreneur. And part of that was practical. I didn't have a job waiting for me when I got back, so why not make my own? And the other part was that I had an idea. I thought of a whole new way for people to communicate with each other, to create a marketplace for things that happen around us all the time. Now I know what you're wondering. Did I chop my hair off because I thought it was unbecoming of the founder of a tech startup? Hell no, obviously not. It turns out long hair is actually just kind of annoying. You want to touch it all the time, but that makes it greasy, and the wind blows in your face, and mountain buttons don't really go into your bike helmet good. So here we are. I'm rocking the American Psycho. I have no idea what haircuts the future has in store. Could go gray, could go bald. It doesn't really matter. Whatever challenges life has in store for me ahead, I'm willing to meet them head on.
Wow.